Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Welcome to Hong Kong Confidential. I'm Jules Hannaford and I'm your host. I'm an Australian woman and I've been living in Hong Kong for many years. I'm a mother, a teacher, an author, and I want to share my wisdom and the wisdom of others with you. Thanks for joining me and I hope you enjoy the show.
You meet someone online and there's this instant connection. It's amazing how much the two of you just seem to click. They live somewhere far away and there's some plausible reason they can't travel to meet you. They tell you they're in love with you and you feel optimistic for the first time in a long time. They have a successful career, yet somehow they need money from you to solve a short-term problem, always with the promise of paying you back. Time goes on and they need more money more urgently. You've started to see the cracks and begin to wonder whether they've been lying this whole time. All of a sudden it hits you. You've been scammed. Fool Me Twice is the story of my mother, Jules Hannaford, a woman who was drawn into the dangerous world of sweetheart scams. After a trip overseas to meet a stranger, a dangerous altercation in a Manchester hotel room, and thousands of pounds lost for good, she's here to tell her story. Fool Me Twice, a true crime podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts, Ozcast Network, and anywhere you listen to your podcasts.
Today I'm here with Julian Sicard. Hi Julian, thank you for joining me today. How are you?
I'm doing great. What about you?
Yeah, good, thank you. I'm great. So Julian, tell me about yourself and how you ended up living in Shanghai.
Well, long story. First time I arrived in China, it was actually because of an internship. I was working at the French embassy in Beijing. And after graduate, I began to develop a first startup in education where I was helping Chinese and Korean students who want to apply to the best business school of France. After that, 1 year in Paris was kind of depressing, especially when you just graduate. And I was still working in the development of the startup. And I made the decision finally to come back to China, but not in Beijing, which is for me more a city for politics, rights. And Shanghai, well, for me, it was more obvious because this is really the economic city of China. You can find out a lot of startups. It was just a feeling. I was like, okay, I really need to go there. And yeah, I come here with a student visa because also to make the experience better, I really wanted to improve my Chinese and step by step, yeah, I finally built my business here.
How did you create Genius and Sell Agency and what exactly do you do with that agency?
My company exists more than 2 years right now. And so in the market of the digital agency is very specific because a lot of digital agencies claim that they can do anything. And for us, and from what I really believe, it's like you need to be ultra specialized to, again, deliver the better for your clients. And our positioning is very particular because we only do LinkedIn, meaning the value propositions that we have, we help Fortune 500 in Asia to generate new clients through LinkedIn. So it's with different ways. Obviously, content creation, because right now in 2020, everyone stalks you on the internet. So you need to create a lot of content to, again, create the legitimacy and also the right targeting where, okay, we're going to make the leads more warm. And when they are warm enough, we send them directly to the sales funnel of our clients.
Why would you say that LinkedIn is such a brilliant platform and why is that the focus for your company?
Well, because this is a platform where the audience is unique. If you analyze in 2020 on the different platform, and this is a great evolution on the last 10 years, in social media, you have such different platforms like Facebook, like Instagram, Twitter. But what makes LinkedIn specific, it's you're going to find out really high decision maker in the same platform. And it's not really possible to have this similar audience on Facebook or on Instagram. You won't find out, for example, like the vice president of Samsung on Instagram. So definitely, what makes unique this platform, it's high qualified people. Second point, people know why they are on that platform. They are here to, again, make new collaboration. That's the main purpose. And I think this is the two main points that differentiate LinkedIn. And obviously, definitely, the third point, it's like the content is very driven or everything related to work, which is, again, unique if you analyze the different platforms that exist right now in the market.
How would you recommend that somebody could optimize their LinkedIn profile?
Well, again, before to begin to optimize your profile, you need to know, okay, what you want to do with this profile. You don't create a profile just to create a profile, because the LinkedIn profile, it's a sales page, okay? It's to really sell yourself. And that's why, obviously, you need to remain professional. You need to have a professional picture. For example, if you're going to describe about your experiences, is what I often mention, like you're going to mention the three experiences related on what you want to provide. So let's say, okay, you are a financial advisor, and before you were human resources. This is not related. Same for me. On my profile, you will never see that I work in the French embassy in Beijing because, well, my past professional life is definitely not related. So you have to connect on what, again, can show what makes you unique, what makes your value proposition unique. So, for instance, just giving you the example of my profile, I mentioned, for instance, that I am a professor of entrepreneurship and digital marketing in two universities here. It's not full time, but again, it shows my legitimacy that I have in social media. So that's the first point, really think about that. And also the social proof, meaning like, okay, ask for recommendation, your best clients or your best collaborator. So again, depends on your objective. Are you looking for a new job? And I think right now with the new circumstance on what's happening, I really believe the platform can help people to, again, get new collaboration. Because here is the thing, Jules, like so many people are going to lose their job. That's just a fact. The economic crisis will come in September 2020. So that's the thing, like really begin to work, okay, on what is really your value proposition, whatever, if you are looking for a client or a new job or new collaboration.
Do you think there's going to be an economic crisis still coming based on what's happening with COVID and the way that the world's been operating in the last few months?
Yeah, definitely. And that's why the platform like LinkedIn, well, it won't save the world. I will be honest on that. But I think people don't realize what's happening for real. The people that don't adapt and think like, okay, everything will get back to normal, they are totally wrong. And I have a lot of compassion for them, actually, because what's going on and what's going to be the discrimination, and especially for work, is going to be on your capability to adapt yourself to what I call the digital renaissance. The internet was just really the beginning. People that are not able to create content to make people aware, okay, they exist and they remain in the same kind of environment, they're going to lose. Because again, like the companies cannot afford anymore to pay for employees. They begin to accept, and particularly what's happening right now in China, to not pay for an office anymore and to really fully go to the remote work. So again, if you don't have this capacity to adapt yourself, to work from home or whatever, it's interesting because here in Shanghai, we see a lot of people right now working in coffee. So it's pretty cool. Okay, what you do, I mean, it brings also a lot of exchanges. And that's why, yeah, I'm a little bit scared for these people, especially the ones that will need to find a new opportunity. But also because, okay, people who were employees get to use to have a sense of security, but it was a fake security. And, it's huge. It's really hard to come to this situation where basically we will explain you, okay, you're going to be a freelancer. That's really, really tough. And same thing for business. I mean, LinkedIn is just a tool between many other. And the companies that are not able to prospect or to build like on Zoom the same way as we do right now, to, again, exchange about new opportunity of collaboration or signing contracts and make the decision fast. Because right now, this is really the time to make decision fast and make the right decision. And these companies that doesn't really fully integrate 100% this digital transformation are the ones that actually will disappear. I mean, yeah, business from my point of view is not nice. Business is really hard. I mean, for real. And I hope more and more companies and more people will be more aware of what's going on. Otherwise, they're going to face the consequences of a bad decision in the next coming week.
You're basically saying there's a digital renaissance coming because of what's happening in the world and business, and the way that the world works and the economy works is going to be very different because everybody's going to be freelancing. People aren't going to be able to afford offices, and people are going to have to look at the way that they are building their companies and do it differently. And it's all going to go online, and a lot of people are going to be working from home. And that's why getting your profile on LinkedIn to either find clients or find a job is the best way to fit into this new digital renaissance. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the way. And again, people should be without any fear and really fully understand all the power of this platform. And again, I think if you really analyze the evolution of the different platform, everything is driven to make you a content creator. So basically what makes the difference between people who are going to be very, very successful and the ones that won't be successful, it's literally people who are content creator. That's the main point. And especially for a company, you cannot miss the recruitment. So what's going to happen? Yeah, if you had a blog, if you have a podcast like you, it's a huge value. I'm telling you, like even 5 years ago, because, okay, I have different friends, they run blog, podcast. It makes a whole difference. People look at this stuff, for recruitment. So that's why, like, okay, whatever the platform, for example, for you, your podcast, it's a platform that, again, gonna drive your audience on LinkedIn on your podcast. So it's a different way to discover what is your value proposition. For example, for me, I enjoy podcasts. I go for a run every time, at night. And because I'm in video every time, okay, you need to sit down, to watch your video. But a podcast is really like a new format that really developed. So this platform like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, it's really great to, again, drive the traffic on something more personal. I don't have a podcast. I have a blog, for example, where I share a lot of tips about digital marketing. So again, I think like people need to be aware also that this platform can help them to, again, get more traffic on their blog or on their podcast. So all again, on the way you're going to link everything, the different platform and the content you create.
And I guess also with LinkedIn, it's more professional than Facebook or Instagram in a way. Like you were saying, there'll be more CEOs, there'll be more people in high sort of places within industry on LinkedIn. Do you feel like this is becoming one of the best ways for employers to find people for jobs these days, and also for people looking for work, whether it be freelance or permanent?
Yeah, again, depends on what kind of company you are, what you are looking for. But if it's for people highly qualified, definitely it's going to be on LinkedIn that you're going to find out there's people. I can give you so many examples, and that's why, again, okay, it's linked to content creation. But for example, if you repeat a certain keyword, then you will be ranked on this keyword. So like after COVID, okay, as I mentioned, I teach sometimes, in two universities here. And like another one, like Fudan, which is one of the greatest here in China, because, okay, there were lack of professor and especially for teaching a topic like digital marketing. They found me on LinkedIn because I had this keyword on my profile. It just, again, to show you like the power of all of this. Or even like 1 week ago in a restaurant, I met with Brazilian. And then I explained him like, okay, what I do. And he was like, oh yeah, that's just incredible because I just found out a job in Guangzhou. It was for a Chinese video games company to, again, go on the Brazilian market. And he was like, yeah, man, it really happened like 1 week before my humanitarian visa ends. So again, just to show you, like, it can really have a real impact. People that may think, okay, there is no job or whatever. Because if we take like the environment right now in China, particularly in Shanghai, I would say, even if we don't have data, but from what I can see, when I go out, 80% of the foreigners leave. If companies hire people, they still have like new opportunities for the people that stay here. So yeah, that's the thing. So again, being aware, being active on the social media, even okay, if you don't have the best profile, but that we understand a minimum your value proposition, it's largely enough to create your next opportunity. And that's why this platform is wonderful because it can literally change your life for real.
Yeah. And I think I was reading your blog and looking at a lot of the different things that you do, and you give so much advice in different areas. And I wonder if I can ask you about some of the specific things that you talk about. Like, for example, what is a content strategy and how can it be developed?
So content strategy, one of the basic advice that I give if you never really create content, here is the things. I really believe in self-discipline for everything you do in your life because it's only with consistency that you can achieve great results. So for social media, it really works the same way. And for social media marketing strategy, and especially for content strategy, here is the thing you could do. And it's what I advise. First, go to your favorite coffee, chilling in some coffee in Shanghai, and you just focus during 4 or 5 hours and you're going to create all your content for 3 months, meaning like, okay, the minimum you should post on LinkedIn is 3 posts a week. Okay. It's a total of 12 posts a month. It's a technical tool that I use, whatever for the financial. It's the 90 days strategy. So basically you plan everything, whatever it's content, financial, etc., etc. But if you are focused during 4 or 5 hours, you begin to create all these contents. Okay. Obviously, this content, you're going to determine, okay, I want this post to that date, etc., etc. The way you should read, you use Microsoft Excel or Google Sheet. Like that, you just need to copy paste, or if you have an assistant, they can post for you. That's the thing. The delegation is the second part. But first, like, okay, the organization is the most important. What kind of content you should do? Well, again, it's the content that we call evergreen content. If I retake the example of the financial advisor and the way you manage money, there is basic principle that is evergreen. Now, when we talk about evergreen content, meaning like, okay, it's not impacted on whatever is happening in the world. For example, in finance, one of the basic principles is to have a security financial fund to again prevent on the risk. That could be one of the piece of content that you could create. For example, have 6 months of saving to again prevent the risk that could happen in your life from a financial point of view. So that's the kind of content that is evergreen. Or let's say, okay, you are a famous chef in a restaurant or influencer in cooking. Well, a ratatouille never change. I mean, the recipe is still the same. So that's the point. Like when I talk about evergreen content, you need to think about what is your specialization and then readapt. For example, for you, Jules, that could be, okay, you want to teach people how to do an awesome podcast. The way you could explain is every time, okay, I do this on Zoom. Why? Because why Zoom is the best platform. It's evergreen because I mean, this is the platform that you use to record your podcast. So there is many different way. And after when you have done that for the content media strategy, it's again the call to action. It's something that a lot of people forget, but when you create the content, it's not only for the awareness. Obviously, people are more aware that you exist. But my advice is again, put in comments a call to action. Can be for you, for example, the link of the specific episode. Every time a call to action or again a reaction, ask for people's opinion. Anyway, everyone loves to share their opinion. And yeah, the call to action is very, very important. And often, unfortunately, a lot of people forget about that. And when you have done all of this, what matters, it's really the tracking. Measure your performances of your content to really see if your content was really engaging or not. So from that point of view, how does it work? Well, you can use website like Bit.ly. It allows you to measure how many people click, where they're coming from, which platform. For me, it's the same. I mean, like I have a big mailing list. I have Facebook group, Facebook page, LinkedIn. So when you reach a certain level, well, at the beginning, you just begin with one or two platforms, but there is a moment you need to measure to really understand what kind of content provide a maximum of value and where is my audience? So you really need to understand that. Like that, you can be more and more specific. Let's say your podcast is in majority in Hong Kong.
It
Well,
is, yeah.
then you repurpose this content for people that live in Hong Kong. That's totally possible. So yeah, like for example, if I were take the example of financial advisor, you could totally do an article about or a post about how you can manage your money better thanks to Alipay and WeChat Pay, because this is a reality which is specific because that reality doesn't exist in any other country, and plus we pay in yuan, etc., etc. So that's the thing. Afterwards, you can re-engage, but at the beginning, keep your content strategy simple, and after step by step, okay, you can become more and more specific and begin to delegate. So taking someone to again manage your content to post for you, because again, what I think is social media is great, but it's also addictive. So if you can have someone manage that for you, because that addiction is not that good actually. And that's the way it works. Actually, my team on social media, they actually take care of everything and they filter for me. They filter everything. They know, okay, with what kind of people I want to interact. And they are my protector of my time. Same thing like when people think like Donald Trump post himself on Twitter.
Yeah.
This is not the case. I mean, he has a team of at least, I guess, 20 communicants, and he succeeds literally to duplicate himself. It's incredible. But if you're in the media, Donald Trump said that on Twitter, but it's not him. It's his team.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
of course.
I just wanted to bring that point because people are not really aware of the smoke and mirrors on what's happening already on social media. So
I
it
do
was
all my social media posts myself. I'd love to have an
yeah,
assistant doing it for me, but I'm getting very quick at it. And I use my notes in my phone to save everything. So I copy and paste from my notes all the time. But it's interesting when you're saying with the call to action, because I used to just post my podcast with the link. But when I started writing, click the link to listen, like
yeah.
making a specific call to action, I got more listens. So a call to action can be very simple, can't it?
Oh yeah, correct. I mean, the more simple you make it and the better it is in general. Because, well, again, you need to come back to the basic of the psychology. Human attention span is actually something like 8 seconds. It's less than a goldfish.
Oh, that's a bit sad.
Yeah. So meaning like if you don't have like grab word like that, it will be very difficult to again create traction on your content. So yeah, the understanding of the basic principle of psychology really help also for the content strategy. And yeah, it's one thing. If you don't tell to the people, okay, what actions they need to take, they will never take it. So don't be surprised.
Yeah, yeah. You
Because,
have to be very specific. Don't just assume that people will click on the link that you're providing. You have to tell them to do it.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And
And plus, you are very unconscious. I mean, when you scroll on your feed, like to really grab your attention is very difficult. So that's why, like, you really need to make the difference in the wording. Words are power. And if you know how to use the words correctly, then, okay, you can attract. I think this is the most difficult part is to really attract and let people focus. Because as I mentioned, people don't have any more focus right now.
it's really interesting because if I look at all of my posts and what are the most successful posts, they're where I win awards or where I have been nominated for things. Like that's where I get the most engagement because people get excited about that. It's really weird. I can't get them sort of to engage as well in just my regular posts. It's
Yeah.
weird. But I was reading in your blog that you recommend that people offer a lead magnet. What is a lead magnet?
So in minutes can be different things, but it's a way also to attract people and demonstrate your value. So can be an ebook, can be a webinar, can be a online course to again create this trust because people don't know you, they don't trust you. So one of the best way to engage with the audience, it's again to offer something. Specifically again on LinkedIn when you want to teach people how to create a great podcast like London Real. Do you know London Real? It's pretty famous actually. Well,
No, I don't.
yeah, he's one of the most famous podcast hosts, and also he has some online courses about how to create a great podcast. So the strategy could be targeting people and offer them a webinar or an ebook. Okay, like that, this audience begin to be more warm. Specifically webinar, I think like right now, ebook, I mean, it has been so used and people are too lazy, I think, to read. But the webinar, it's a really great strategy because you can really create this interaction with the audience. So, for example, the title of the webinar, it's how to get a podcast with 1,000 subscribers in 4 months. Super precise because, okay, you have figures, but it depends on the people. But for me, I'm very pragmatic. I really work with figures, but generally it works because, okay, the promise of your 1 hour webinar, it's really to bring these people in few months in 1,000 subscribers for their podcast. So it's a huge value proposition and plus it's free. So you're going to deliver during this 1 hour webinar after texting them. You invite them first to register. So that's the first step. When they register, they attend to the webinar. Okay. And at the end of the webinar can be two call to action depending on your strategy. If you are more into coaching or if you are more into, okay, giving a premium online course, let's say 1,000 or $2,000 to say, okay, here is my premium course. If you want it more, there is 6 months guarantee, whatever, with the possibility to attend to this online course unlimited. And then that's your call to action because, okay, the way you drive first, okay, you create the trust with this webinar. Then you can begin to monetize the audience. And after the webinar, well, a different way, but the follow-up is also very important. You can, for example, collect this email. I think in digital marketing, that's the most important thing because if a platform shut down, well, I have many friends actually that are influencers on YouTube. When you begin to lose like that because the algorithm changed 50% of your audience, that's really difficult. But when you save the email, when you have a huge mailing list of your fans, you're safe because the email is not dependent on an algorithm change. And that's the difficulty with the platform. Actually, it's something that really happened recently. I found out more and more companies right now, they begin to create their own podcast. So again, that's a value proposition that could be a value. And what is great with the webinar, I mean, at the beginning, you can really test this idea for almost nothing. I mean, it's not that expensive. And you can launch like that new business ideas and, okay, conflict to a certain audience. Okay, do these people who buy more coaching or more, let's say, online course before to, again, really establish this offer into the market. That's why the lead magnets help you to qualify and to make more warm the potential new customers that you could have.
Would you say that most lead magnets are free and then you're driving the business to your website, you're offering them the call to action where you charge, you're gathering emails so then you can, bulk email people other offers that you have?
Depends. Some people, well, in the strategy, it's like they're going to tell you, okay, here is my last book. It's free, but you have to pay the shipping, for
Oh, right,
example.
yeah. Or it's $1.
Yeah, but it's also a way to qualify. It's again a matter of the psychology. Why? Because if you begin to, let's say, spend $7, if you begin to spend that, then okay, you are in the process to spending more.
Especially if you get a lot of people like jumping on your lead magnet, it could cost you a lot. So, Julian, what do you think are some of your most popular blogs? Are you able to tell which of your blogs are most popular or what do people have the most interest in and all the things that you write about managing your digital platform and using LinkedIn?
You mean the most successful blog post that I have so far? People, again, are very interested in content and, again, how to approach new leads to generate new clients. I think it's, because everyone wants more money. So all my blog posts related to that, how to make money thanks to LinkedIn, are very attractive. But yeah, I mean, like the blog is just one way, like beyond my agency, I also run a community called LinkedIn Local Shanghai. So yeah, just few explanations. So LinkedIn Local is actually the longest running campaign on LinkedIn. And the idea is to meet people beyond the profile, okay, offline. Well, it was difficult the last month because obviously we couldn't organize any offline events here in Shanghai. We relaunched the event last month for a private brunch. And that's again a way to create value and to make the people understand how LinkedIn works. So I really like this idea to again mix the online with the offline. Like we know online, but finally, okay, we can share a nice meal, a nice drink together. And I think this is also the purpose of social media. I mean, like to really reconnect with people in reality. Yeah.
And it's like you're networking offline and online. So it's a way of bringing people together with the network online and actually meet in person. So that's quite a nice thing because it's not always possible. So you're focused really on Asian companies, aren't you? You're not really working globally at the moment. Is that right?
Well, we have some companies we work with from the US and from France, but majority, well, we're going to work with their offices in Asia, yeah. Because again, you cannot be everywhere and we want to be very close to our clients. And the thing is, when you work on a new project and when there is so many time difference, it's really hard to provide the best value. And for me, it's what really matters to provide the best results, being close with my clients. And again, yeah, I think, the main issue is really the time difference.
Yeah, I understand that, especially with podcasting and, having to do podcasts with people in the US. That's really difficult.
Yeah.
Julian, tell me a bit about your 20-minute routine for getting results. I read about this in your blog. What is that and how can you get results in 20 minutes?
Yeah. So first thing, like 20 minutes for getting a result on LinkedIn, well, it's pretty simple. Because as I mentioned, social media are addictive and you shouldn't spend more than 20 minutes. So first thing is create a post and post the content, whatever it is. Then, create what we call micro content. So micro content, it's check on content where you can provide value with commenting. Okay. If you really provide value on that comment, then people are going to see your profile and they're going to click and they will visit your profile. And
so, sorry, can you just explain that again? Did you say micro content?
Yeah, micro content, meaning mainly commenting on other people's posts.
Oh, okay. So you comment on other people's posts in relation to what you're doing, similar thing?
Well, again, one of the tips, I think like what matters is people who have a large audience. Like that you can benefit from this audience. Why? Because let's say that person has a post with a lot of like and comments, then obviously there is more view, then the probability that people are going to click on your profile will be super huge.
Oh, that's great advice, right? I hadn't thought of that, but that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's the first one. So 5 minutes, you create your post, you post it. Then you're going to comment, let's say 10 people post. And after what you're going to do is trying to, for example, make a research on a specific people you would like to interact. And after classify certain messages, archive some of them because there's a problem. Like, one of the difficulty on LinkedIn, it's like you cannot really classify all the messages. So my advice is every time, you reply and the people that you think is not really important, you just archive the messages to really get like a clean inbox. And yeah, after it's done, like when you have answer like that to 5, 6 people, it takes you again 5 to 7 minutes and the routine is over. So it's just like a routine you have to do every day. Well, don't do necessarily on morning. I think there is not that worse to begin your day when you check your phone and social media because again, it creates a lot of pressure, but take a moment to just after you eat, for example, you just relax, you chill out and you do this routine. On morning is kind of stressing because we have other things to do. We need to really prepare and visualize what or how great it's going to be our day. So my advice, I do that more actually at noon for breakfast, actually, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good advice as well, because you do need to sort of get focused and work out what you're going to do. So you could leave your social media to a bit later. Well, you mentioned earlier in the podcast about keywords, but why are they important? And can you give me some examples of keywords that are really effective?
Well, again, for people, they're going to look some position, okay? Like, for example, I mentioned professor or like CEO. People are going to type this keyword on the search bar. And that's the thing. The more you're going to repeat certain keyword, let's say for you, it's going to be hashtag podcast. Let's say people want to find a podcast host in Hong Kong. And if they're going to type that in the search bar, and actually, I think it's what my employee Thomas did. That's the way he found you. And then you appear in the top position. And that's the way he contacted you. He was like, okay, well, that's a very interesting podcast. And literally, it's because you have this keyword on your profile, or maybe you repeat it in your post. And then what happened compared to other people who have a podcast in Hong Kong, you appear in top position.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
why
I
it's
post on LinkedIn a couple of times a week for sure, at least twice a week. And I'll have 150 episodes out this Saturday.
that's why then. So
Yeah.
that's why because you had a lot of regularity
Yeah.
in repeating this keyword, and then the algorithm put you really in top position.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so interesting. Oh, I'm glad there's some success. It's interesting. I have a friend who posts in LinkedIn a lot, and we have a pact that we will write on each other's, we'll comment on each other's. Is that a good idea? Like when you have friends or colleagues that are on LinkedIn and you sort of have an arrangement to like and comment on each other's posts, it lifts
So,
your algorithm. Is that
so
correct?
correct. So it's also one of the part we do on with LinkedIn Local Shanghai. So we have the offline event, but beyond that, we have WeChat groups. Well, I can add you later. I would be more than happy.
I don't
And
even have WeChat.
you don't have WeChat?
No, I don't even
Okay.
have it.
Then maybe that's the
I know,
opportunity.
going to need it now soon.
Yeah. And so in this group, I think 7 or 8 groups with 500 people, and we literally comment to each other. Everyone shares a post, and we comment and we like. Why? Because the way to crack the algorithm is on the first 30 and 60 minutes, your post is displayed to few people, and depending on how many people are gonna like or comment, then okay, LinkedIn will make the choice to show this content to more or less people. That's why it's important to have a boost of engagement in the beginning to ensure that your post gonna be successful, because the post first is shown in the first 24 hours what we call your first degree connection, meaning like people that you are friends with on LinkedIn. Then there's gonna be after 24 hours, between 24 to 48 hours, the second degree connection, meaning the friends of your friends, the connection of your connection. And after 48 hours is going to be to your third degree connection, meaning the friend of your friend of your friend. Yeah.
Hmm.
And in some posts, actually, I haven't had some reaction even 1 month after. So yeah, it's very interesting to see like it's not like the other social media platform where actually you post and 5 hours later it's dead. LinkedIn is pretty long actually.
That's
Yeah.
very interesting. I'm in retweet groups on Twitter, podcast retweet groups. So my tweets get retweeted loads by loads of people because we all retweet each other. So that's sort of what you were talking about with your WeChat groups.
Well, in the technical sense, is what we call a link pod engagement. Yeah.
Yeah.
POD engagement. Yeah. So you have different kind of pod engagement. Again, what I advise to your audience? Well, you have some software called Al Capone. I think that one actually gets shut down by LinkedIn because it was automated pod engagement, meaning
Like bots?
yeah, you can, for example, decide, oh, that's great, and you are in this group and you have nothing to do. So it's managed by a bot. But anyway, the thing is, everything related to automation should not be used on LinkedIn, because why the platform keeps this authenticity compared to Facebook or Instagram is because they didn't care. They shut down literally their account. And whatever you complain, they don't care. They won't open your account.
So if you use any bots, you'll be gone from LinkedIn.
Yeah, like any automation, I don't advise that.
Okay.
Pod engagement is what I say. You will find two kinds. One with a bot, what we call automated pod engagement. This one, it's again, I repeat that, please don't use it because the effect going to be terrible. But the manual ones that I mentioned, meaning, you are in a group and it's really yourself that do the commenting and everything, that's not a problem. You won't have any issues with that. And on the contrary, actually, it's going to boost really your post.
When we talk about engagement on LinkedIn, you've talked about posting 2 or 3 times a week. You've talked about using keywords. You've talked about micro posting as well, or micro commenting on other people's platforms. Is there anything else that we should think about just to boost engagement on LinkedIn that you haven't mentioned? Oh, you've talked about call to action and lead magnets as well, and good content. Is there anything else?
The hashtag. So when you have a post, depending on the hashtag you put at the end of your post, then it's going to be on the URL of your post, meaning you're going to rank better. Let's say, hashtag social media, then the people that follow this hashtag well, it's going to boost also your SEO. It's really integrated in the search engine optimization of your post. It's something that shouldn't be forget because actually the search engine optimization of LinkedIn, it's hugely powerful. Google your name and you're going to see that 95% of the time on Google, the first link that appear is LinkedIn. It's because again, that's Microsoft on LinkedIn. So they have done incredible job already regarding the SEO. So yeah, for boosting the engagement, yeah, definitely think of your free hashtag. Try to make a rotation. Try to not keep the same, but again, keep a lexical that again is similar to what you do, to what is your expertise, and make a rotation between these different hashtags for your different posts.
So did you say 3 hashtags? Is that how many you should use in LinkedIn?
Correct, because actually the only 3 hashtags are taken into consideration for the SEO for the link.
Oh, okay, good to know. I didn't know that either.
There is no way actually, from my point of view, to again add more hashtag 3. It's enough because it integrates for your SEO. Yeah.
Thank you so much for all that amazing information on LinkedIn. I've learned a lot. I'm going to be able to upskill myself now from your help. But now I'd like to just talk a little bit about your role as a CEO in the company that you run. What are some of the key skills that you think you need as a CEO?
Empathy and compassion. Yeah. When I really begin my company, what is difficult is again, like I'm a true practitioner. And for me, what is logical is not necessarily for my employees. And again, like you need really to come from a place of compassion to support your team. Your team doesn't work for you. You work for your team. Well, that's my perspective. You know, what is very particular in the vision of our company, it's again, the CEO has to set up a vision. And for us, again, one of the keywords is respect and integrity. If we say we're going to do something, we're going to really do it. The other aspect, very important aspect that we have also in Genius and said, it's continuing education. Well, I teach sometimes, and I think actually my business partner also been a professor for a long time. And for us, I think like with these words that constantly changing, online courses is mandatory in for our company every Saturday morning. You have to take an online class. Is mandatory because
Can you say that again? What is mandatory on a Saturday morning?
To take an online course. Yeah. For continuing education and particularly in digital marketing. So many things it's changing. And I really believe education is freedom. I mean, if you have the aspect to educate yourself, then okay, you're going to be better and you can adapt better also to these words that constantly change. So yeah, we have followed a couple of courses right now. And actually it's like 3 months that we put that in place. But no, the results like are very great. Everyone is super happy to follow this course. And there are courses that we can really apply and that allow us also to take a step back. So to summarize, yeah, a CEO set up a vision and again, need to be relaxed and coming from a place of empathy to again allow everyone in the team to evolve on his proper rhythm. That's it. And after, unfortunately, well, sometimes you make mistakes. I mean, sometimes, yeah, I miss my recruitment. And also, I think it's unfair to let people stay in the company, whether they stay because they think they are forced. They don't really have the courage to tell, okay, I'm going to leave. So sometimes there is a breakdown, like, okay, you have done a good job. Thank you. I have a lot of gratitude for everything you have done for the company. But here is the thing, X, Y, Z, why we think right now we are not a good fit to continue together. Well, you know, it's difficult sometimes when you need to separate with someone, but I think it's for the best. It's really for the best because some people that you recruit, you think it will be a good fit, but yeah, unfortunately, after a few weeks, you just come to the conclusion that no, finally, it wasn't that good, either for the company or for you and for the person himself. And I think it's very important to again maintain the same level of energy between everyone. That's the most important thing that also a CEO needs to see. Like, okay, if someone has total different energy, I'm not necessarily talking about a bad or a good energy. It's just the energy is just different. then it creates really like issues unconsciously inside the team. So that's also something that I think a CEO should be aware.
Yeah, I think that's really, really good advice. And it's quite insightful, actually, because a lot of people avoid stuff like that. They don't have the courage to take it on, but you have to in that sort of leadership role. What do you think you've learned most about yourself throughout your career?
My career.
Yeah.
When we come from a place of fear, we don't achieve anything. You know, I'm 28 years old, but the age really doesn't matter. And I think getting all these experiences, professional experiences, and believe so much in myself and in my vision that I have that I can really help people. And especially right now, you know, like Jules, every morning when I wake up, I have a purpose, you know, like it's not just managing a LinkedIn account. Every day I'm like, yeah, I'm serving businesses. I'm serving people that won't lose their job. I mean, there is a purpose. I mean, like beyond all of that, it's not only, you know, making money. Like, I think like that's the things that really changed for me is to see like, okay, obviously at the beginning, you need to pay for your bill, you need to pay for your rent. That's the main thing. But after you reach a certain level, it's really about the impact. And I think it's also why I decided to become an entrepreneur. And I actually decided to quit what was supposed to be my career, meaning in politics, for again getting the most positive impact. I really think like in my vision, only entrepreneurship can allow you to have a positive impact. So yeah, this capacity to achieve a vision, you imagine something and you get there. It's just incredible. I really think like when you have the vision and you believe so much in it, then nothing can stop you.
Oh, that's so inspiring. I love it. That's really brilliant. Julian, what's your greatest challenges that you face, do you think, in your role as a CEO?
The time management is very stressful because I have to say, like sometimes I didn't allow myself to take a day off because obviously I was so passionate about what I'm doing. But the danger is when you are too much into your work, you forget the environment around you. You forget to re-interact with people. Your reality just with your work. And I think it's very dangerous because actually it isolates yourself. And now I really takes more time for me and I understood it's very important to take time for myself. And sometimes, you know, I'm like, okay, during 4 days I won't work. And it's fine, you know, like I mean, business is still continuing. I'm still breathing. I mean, like it's not a big deal, you know. And I think that's the point. Time is an illusion. And we think like, okay, we have to do this, we have to do that. If it's really important anyway, I have my team to support me. Well, I work for them, but yeah, when I need to some support, I'm just 100% honest, you know. With my team, I'm like, okay, I just need to take a step back. So don't worry if we don't have our weekly call. I mean, like, it's just like that. So I think like that has been the most challenging for me, like to accept that I can have time for myself because it's very important. If you don't take time for yourself to have some resources, it drives you crazy. I mean, like the reality is Elon Musk, the way he works is in other planets. I think it's not possible for a lot of people to be like that because it could literally drive you to a certain instability from a psychological point of view. I really believe that. The balance in all aspects of your life is really important. Running a company is great. There is a lot of responsibility in that. And of course, you need to assume that there's different responsibilities. But in the same time, you need to take time for yourself to be aware on what you eat, cook for yourself, go on a walk. Sometimes if you want to watch a movie, you can do it too. I mean, like everything's going to be all right. And I think it has been recently one of the greatest lessons, just trust on my team when sometimes I just need time for myself.
Yeah, we all need to take time for our well-being and make sure that we're looking after ourselves because it's so important for our mental and our physical health. And I think that's a lesson we can learn at any age. I'm having to do that now.
Really?
What do you love most about your work?
Well, again, I think what is interesting with social media, it's like a lot of things change every time. So literally learn new things every day. What I like to is we have so many diverse industry we work with, like architect, IT industry, consulting company. It's very fascinating because I can really learn about all these different industry and how it works in their logic and on their own reality. So that's very passionating to have such of diversification in terms of clients. And yeah, what I enjoy the most too is creating processes. I am a process guy. I like to conceptualize my life with processes. And I like, yeah, to create process for my team to make their work easier, more simple. And again, I think, yeah, in life, it actually matter on do you have the right process or not? And that's pretty much it. Like when I give you all the tips, it's just because okay, I try to envision this process and what are the results. And I think like everything is measurable. So, okay, giving you an example, my cleaning lady that come once in a week, actually my business partner, Tamar told me, yeah, she even cut the vegetable for me. I was like, okay, I never think about that. Okay, that sounds very stupid, but it's just one example. And like she cut my vegetable, putting that in a Tupperware. But Jules, seriously, it changed my life. I mean, like, I just have my cut and fresh vegetable. I just need to cook it. And I mean, like, seriously, it saved me so many times. And again, if you take from that perspective, it's a process. Because I envision that, okay, if I delegate to my cleaning lady, the fact that, okay, during when she does cleaning time, I'm going to order the food delivery like that she can reorganize my fridge, cut the vegetable and put that in a Tupperware, then okay, I don't need to waste my time on doing that because I don't like it. And second point, like, okay, I can eat clean because every time, often I was lazy because, okay, I was ordering pizza or not very healthy
Yeah,
food
and
because,
that's not good for you.
yeah, I was like too lazy because I was like, oh no, I have to cut the
To the
carrot and
vegetables.
yeah. And now
Yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? Just thinking about how you can manage your time better and make processes that work for you in a positive way. So that's
So
cool.
that's the thing. And okay, that's still a detail when we think about that. But it changed my life. I don't understand much right now, junky food. So yeah, just to really give you an example, I really eat more
And it's
healthy.
something simple, isn't it, that's changed your life? Just cutting
Yeah,
vegetables or having
yeah,
someone do it for
yeah.
you.
I mean, like it was just okay to implement a new mission to make cleaning lady and coordinate with the delivery food at the right time when she's there. It
Yeah.
was not a big deal. Yeah, so that was from my personal life, but just giving you another example. For the team, what we create, it was like 2 months ago. It's a server where literally you have a bot that tell you, okay, right now, Diane, you have 20 minutes to do this task. Like that, I don't need to remind them. So literally, okay, I will try to explain in a simple way. You have a Google Calendar that is linked with Discord server. So it's like Skype, but you can reorganize, per team. And then this calendar, when there is a new event, I really set up a typical schedule for each team member. And every time they have the notification where the bot gonna say, okay, Diane, you have 20 minutes to do this task. Please check the green emoji when it's done. And oh my God, it changed so much because we were really able to measure better the task. How long does it take? To see also if each of the tasks was really necessary. So it's really duplicates the vision of Ray Kroc for McDonald's for our digital agency. And I mean, like, that's the same way. When you manage an account, it's like making a Big Mac. McDonald's was actually my first job when I was a student. But if you see, it's super well done. The processes of McDonald's, like it's super precise. You have a certain time for the steak, and you have a certain time, okay, for putting the salad, the tomato. That's exactly the same. And so I was like, okay, well, actually, I was watching, I don't know if you know the movie The Founder. It talks about Ray Kroc, the guy that literally amplified to make McDonald's a very successful brand. And I was like, oh my God, that's so fascinating. Like, okay, if a McDonald's kitchen is like that, how could I duplicate that? Because our team work remotely. with, okay, an environment that is better and where they have like proper direction where, okay, it makes their job really easier. And it has been a very massive change because I don't need to waste my time to tell this team member or this team member, okay, you have to do this, you have to do that. No, I just go on their calendar and I just need to add the task. Let's say, okay, in 2 days they have to do that. Well, I just need to go to the calendar and they will have the reminder in the private channel in the server was about going to tell you, okay, you have to do that. And if I need to have more explanation in the description of the task, I'm going to send them a link of the video where I explain the new process.
Wow,
And
that's brilliant. How
yeah.
cool is that? And that all came from watching a documentary about McDonald's. That's
Yeah.
brilliant. And also, if you could start your journey over again as an entrepreneur, would you do anything differently, or do you feel like you've gone about it all pretty much the right way?
When I began, I was too much ambitious. My first startup, I began with 5 interns in the same time. Well, the thing is, like, I don't regret anything on what I did. And I think particularly in the beginning, there is a lot of stress, seriously. In my first year, I really had to, particularly when I was living in Paris, it was a lot of struggle. I mean, like, I had to save money, to come in China. So I had to take a normal job. So literally in the morning between 6 a.m. to noon, I was in the co-working space, managing my interns with my startup that actually didn't make me rich. But I mean, I was making some money, but it was not big enough. And literally, I mean, the first business you do is not generally the most successful one. And actually, it's what my first mentor told me, like, if you're not able to make a living on that, what are the points? It just took me like 1 year and a half to understand that, but that's okay. At least I learned a lot of cool things. And yeah, the first year was really, really hard because I had to be alone. I was working 70 hours a week, accumulating a normal job plus my startup that I really believe in. And that's really hard, Jules, because I mean, well, Paris is expensive, obviously, but like, when you have to tell to your friends, oh no, I'm busy, I cannot go out. But actually, you just want to save the face because actually you don't have enough money. And because I believe again so much, like, okay, I need to go to China and I will save any dollars that I can. Yeah, again, like 1 year like that, it's really hard. But again, in entrepreneurship, I will be honest, is not for everyone. It's not an easy journey. It's sometimes very, very hard. And particularly when you just graduate, I mean, like, just giving you an example, I see all my classmates of my master degree, well, because I did a very prestigious school in France, working for a famous politician in France, working for the parliament. And me, I was still struggling, making $1,500 a month. Just giving you what was my reality. And sometimes, of course, you are like, okay, did I do something wrong when I made this choice? And I adapt a lot. But 3 years later, 4 years later, here you are. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful because, again, it's when it's hard that it makes you stronger. Unfortunately, we have to go through that to, again, enjoy the journey. I don't think like I would change anything. Yeah.
Well, that's brilliant. Yeah, I've spoken to a number of entrepreneurs and they all have a similar start where it's very difficult. They're very poor. They're working really long hours. But if you stick with it and you've got the right mindset and ability and intelligence and all the other skills that you need, you can really, make it and be very successful. What advice would you have for anyone wanting to become an entrepreneur?
Experiment, experiment, and experiment. Like, I see too much people, they're scared also and fear of the judgment of the other. You want to begin a blog? Just do it. I mean, life is short in the end, and you are zero of your own journey, and no one else gonna help you. I mean, like, in the end, okay, it's sounds pessimist. We are all gonna die. The end of the story is the same for anyone. So if you don't take right now to make this life something great for you, what a pity for it, because you really have one life. My advice would be like, work really on yourself to just don't give a shit about what other people think. Because I think it's really what the majority of people and what really blocked me in the beginning.
I think that's brilliant advice. Like, we really shouldn't worry about what other people think and be true to yourself, whether it's being who you are or whether it's in your job or whatever it is, gender, sexuality, all of it.
Yeah, because again, it's a construction, people that complain, okay, oh yeah, I'm too young. The same for me, like I was complaining, I'm not successful because, okay, I was too young, da da da. But in the end, no, that's your own responsibility if you're successful or not. It's not because you are, I don't know, black or a female. No, it's just really like if you are competent, if you provide value, I'm telling you, you're going to be successful. So when you succeed to really come to this state of mind, like, I don't give a shit about other people, what they think about me. I don't mind. When you really feel that from your whole body, your whole spirit, that's really why you begin to be successful. And again, begin to execute, be consistent on what you do to again understand. And obviously, like, what is also a difficulty for the majority of entrepreneurs, it's the shiny object syndrome. I think I had a lot that
fast cars and expensive watches and things like that.
Well, no, thinking like, okay, no, but I was doing this, but this one will bring me more money.
Oh, so you mean having an idea and then jumping on other ideas because they seem better?
Correct.
Oh, okay, right.
Correct. Because that's normal sometimes to doubt about yourself because you don't see the result from a financial point of view. But that's not only that. So that's why, like, I would say, like, keep focus on what really is your dream. Me at the beginning was really helping the Chinese student to accede to the best business school. And, I did that and it was a long journey. I had to come in China to realize that actually there was a lot of competition and to really be successful in that market. I couldn't really fight because you need to have a lot of financial investment in the beginning, but that's okay. I mean, like it was 1 year and a half of the journey. And in the end, what I remember is, okay, I did a lot of great stuff. Even if the company itself wasn't so successful, well, I was successful because I developed new public speaking skills. I did many things. I learned how to recruit people. So in the end, it's a process, you remember. So again, enjoy the process.
Brilliant. Julian, thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been so fascinating. I've learnt loads and I think my listeners are really going to get so much out of this. And thank you for sharing your knowledge about LinkedIn and also just about being an entrepreneur as well. It's super interesting. How can my listeners find you if they'd like to get in touch with you or read your blog or get support with their company for LinkedIn?
So our company, if you want to have more information, it's geniusansel.agency. And the best way, again, to reach me out, it's you just type my name, Julien Sicard, on LinkedIn. We'll be happy to get in touch and see what we can do for you, how we can support you in this difficult moment. But again, exciting because I really believe it's in this crisis times the best opportunity coming in. And again, if you want to know more, get more tips, I have a big blog with more than 100 articles. So you can type blog.juliensicard.com. Again, it's free value, so take advantage of that. I know when you don't pay, sometimes you don't take this thing seriously, but I mean, everything it's really in this blog. So yeah, take the time if you want to have some advices about LinkedIn with the different articles.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I'll put all of those links in the show notes so that people can find you easily. And for my listeners out there, if you could go to iTunes to rate and review Hong Kong Confidential, that'd be amazing. It'll help me go up the charts and it'll help people find Julian and his company, Genius Ansel Agency. And do you have time, Julian, just to answer some secret questions for me? 4 more questions?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Are you sure? So for my listeners, if you go to Patreon, which is Patreon/Hong Kong Confidential, for as little as $1 a month, you can hear Julian's answers to his 4 secret questions. So thank you to everybody that does sponsor me on Patreon. And if you'd like to hear Julian's secret questions, please go and check out Patreon and sponsor me. And you can also hear the answers to the last 30 or 40 guests that I've had, their secret questions as well. So we'll see you later here, Julian, now for Hong Kong Confidential, and I'll see you over on Patreon in just a second. Thank you so much. It's been amazing. Hi, Confidants. I want to tell you about my Patreon page. I've joined Patreon in the hope of getting sponsorship for my Hong Kong Confidential podcast. Patreon is a great way for my listeners to get on board and sponsor me with monthly payments, and that goes towards my production costs and rewards for my members. If you're interested in checking out my Patreon page, please go to patreon.com and search up Jules Hannaford or Hong Kong Confidential. I would really appreciate you visiting my page. So that brings us to the end of another Hong Kong Confidential podcast. I'm Jules Hannaford. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you'll be with me again next week. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please can you go to iTunes to rate and review it. I would really appreciate your feedback. You can email me at jules@hongkongconfidential.net, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Hong Kong Confidential. If you'd like to hit me up on Twitter, it's at Jules Hannaford. I would love to hear from you.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.